Hello, welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast pregame edition live from Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass. I'm Johnny Venerable. My good friend Bo Brack decided to join me today. We're having some fun watching the early games as the Arizona Cardinals, Bo, welcome the San Francisco 49ers at State Farm Stadium.
Yeah, and about 70% of Niner fans at State Farm Stadium. That's why I avoided it. It was escape from San Francisco, Santa Clara East today. That's why I decided to join you. See what the big hoopla was out here at Wild Horse Pass. My God, this is a beauty of a setup that we have out here. If you don't have any plans for your game day, get out here, join Johnny, myself, the PHNX crew, already CWP, a couple other listeners, viewers out here, and we're going to have a great time watching. Hopefully, this Cardinals team at full strength on the offensive side of the football put up some points.
I don't know what's grosser, the amount of 49er fans that are apparently making their way into State Farm Stadium or the Houston Texans potentially upsetting Tennessee with Case Keenum. We're going to keep you posted on that and more, but let's keep it Cardinals. Let's keep it 100. The Cardinals, despite a lengthy injury report, Bo, that you reported on Friday, appear to be at full strength today against San Francisco, and they're going to need it.
That's right. Michael Wilson making his way back into the lineup for the first time since Kyler Murray's debut in Week 10. And Michael Wilson made some plays in that game, right? I mean, right out of the gates, Kyler Murray showing the ability, the arm talent to throw to Michael Wilson. Excited to see the big-bodied wide receiver get back in there after missing 3 games. As our heart breaks as Case Keenum finds an open wide receiver, looks like the Texans are poised to tie the Tennessee Titans late in the fourth quarter in this game at 16 all. But no, I mean, getting back to the Cardinals game at hand, Hollywood Brown seems like he's a little bit healthier with the heel injury.
Yeah.
And then, we'll see what they do on the offensive line. Our guy, Howard Balzer, who is at the stadium today, he's actually putting in the work, unlike myself. I'm out here playing with all of you at Gila River.
Yeah.
He says that Tristan Colon, who's also healthy, is getting some of the reps with the first team, at least in the pregame warm-ups. We'll see. They just activated Elijah Wilkinson, who played in 6 games before going down to injury, how they work the left guard spot. But the Cardinals right now, relatively pretty healthy on the offensive side of the football. It's like somebody asked me yesterday when I reported Wilkinson was active, they said, was he solid this season? And I simply was like, no, he wasn't.
He wasn't. Listen, depth is depth at the end of the day. And the Cardinals, I do think they've got an admirable shot to have a good showing today. Maybe not a win, but this is a roster that has been with them throughout the course of this season. They're not missing any key players. I got Dylan in the chat asking me, Johnny, you think Murray with 3 touchdowns today? You bet your ass, Dylan. I think Kyler Murray has a big game today.
Fanboy, Johnny.
I got to get my fanboy T-shirt at the merchandise locker. You'd love to see that. Let's check out the Inactives officially today. No notable names, Bo, and that's a good sign. No Budda Baker, despite maybe having a potential Michael Jordan-like flu game on deck.
Can you see it after the game, after a gigantic upset? Jalen Thompson going all Scottie Pippen and just cradling Budda in his arms.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I would love to also see Hollywood Brown and Michael Wilson go off.
Yes.
You've got your full complements of receivers, Rondell Moore, Greg Dortch, of course, our sweet baby Trey McBride, McBridesmaids. So, I like what I see here. I like that I don't see any starters on that list because against San Francisco, I mean, we're going to talk about this throughout the course of today. You got to play a perfect game to even have a shot, and you got to hope that they're off. You can't play a perfect game without your best players. Like the last time these two teams faced, they didn't have Kyler Murray, they didn't have Budda Baker, and I don't think they had James Conner for much of the game either. You talk about your 3 best players were absent. Well, now you've got an emerging tight end on top of that. The Cardinals are putting themselves in a position to give the Niners all they want more. They're off a couple big emotional wins. They beat the snot out of the Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. They took care of Seattle last week with a little bit lackadaisical in the first half. I don't care what the home crowd looks like. I hope the people that are wearing red and white for the Arizona Cardinals make themselves heard. But I think today is a day where the Arizona Cardinals can give the Niners a preview of what to expect in 2024.
Well, they're going to have to. They're not going to have the luxury of the opposing offense like in Pittsburgh, where they're going to give them the opportunities to get back on the field and get the offense going. Last time we saw the San Francisco 49ers offense, they were marching up and down the field. They were getting explosives. They were scoring basically at will. You're going to need to get the stops on defense. But, where the Cardinals have their strengths on offense, and we talk about James Conner, when you talk about trying to commit to the run and establish the run, that's where that luxury is removed from the Arizona Cardinals, that if they come out, they're stagnant, and they're not getting first downs and they're not putting up points, the Niners are going to make you pay. The Niners are great against tight ends. They're great against taking away the running backs. That's where guys like Michael Wilson, like Hollywood Brown, are going to have to fill in kind of the gaps here on the offensive side of the football and make plays when their stars are being taken away.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at our Birdgang Blitz keys to the game. Let's start with the homecoming for Brock Purdy, which you and I have admittedly wanted to vomit over. The Love Fest. Prepare yourselves, folks, for the broadcast of Brock Purdy. But he's a problem for the Cardinals. I don't think he's a problem long term, but I mean, he had almost a perfect game when these two teams met in Santa Clara. Now the Cardinals a little bit more feisty defensively, playing their best football defensively. How, Bo, can they begin to slow down this offense with the orchestrator? That's what he is, number 13, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to have to somehow crank up early pressure, right? Really kind of get him uneasy. And, Brock has been able to make plays, but it really feels like things need to set up perfectly for him when you take away a Christian McCaffrey. Easier said than done. You take away his easy kind of bunny layup throws. If you can kind of turn up the pressure early and often, can you take a guy that some view as, maybe above average to a pedestrian signal caller? Can you make him look like Mr. Irrelevant out of Iowa State?
And that all starts at the end of the day with pressure. Like, I think the Cardinals, they're going to have a really creative game plan. You gave Nick Rallis and Jonathan Gannon 2 weeks to prepare for this game. All the bag of tricks, you got to send everything at them. Like B.J. Ojulari, we've talked about it, having a nice rookie season. Somebody put out there for The Athletic. Apologies for not giving specific credit, but he's having the most productive pass rushing grade of any edge rusher this year.
Doug Howard?
Yeah. No, somebody else. It's on my Twitter. I gave him credit. He quote tweeted me. Appreciate that. But listen, B.J. Ojulari's got to step up. We need to see Zaven Collins really for the first time in a few weeks come out and get after the quarterback. Interior pressure with Dante Stills. Big week for like Dennis Gardeck. Trent Williams is a handful, but you can manipulate this interior offensive line for the San Francisco 49ers. They're pretty average at right tackle. I'm going to tell you right now, if he gets 5 to 7, seconds to throw, it's going to be game over. You can't be expected. Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, McCaffrey, and even Jawan Jennings. That's easily the best receiving core weaponry in the NFL. And again, it's what's fueling this faux MVP case for Brock Purdy. But these guys, they can have an off day or an off afternoon, but it's specific to Purdy not playing well. Because like as great as those receiving talents are, if Purdy's off, like hospital balls left and right, you're going to be able to take advantage. He can throw interceptions. So
hit him.
Yeah, you got to get after him. Make him uncomfortable.
Yep. I mean, and we've seen it. Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis have seen it firsthand. I'm not saying nobody's rooting for injuries here. Don't twist my words, but hit him, right? That's the name of the game. We see it with players like Stafford, quarterbacks within this division. You turn up the pressure. Mm-hmm. You get physical with these signal callers, and sometimes positive things happen. Balls get thrown and put up in the air, and sometimes taken down by the opposing defense. I mean, if they're, I don't expect them to force themselves too many turnovers on downs or punts.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to create, offensive opportunities. So get your hands on some footballs.
Speaking of footballs, there should be plenty to go around today as the Cardinals are finally playing with a full deck offensively. Michael Wilson, Hollywood Brown, we alluded to it, are back in the lineup. We assume, Bo, at full capacity. It's a full deck in our point number 2 here on the Birdgang Blitz. Not only do you have your 2 primary receivers, 1 and 2, fully healthy, Rondell Moore looks like he's poised at any point, Bo, to go off. He got robbed of a late touchdown against Pittsburgh. Greg Dortch has been doing his thing. Trey McBride, I think, is worthy of Pro Bowl consideration. James Conner's healthy. Like, this is a game where you can saddle back and say, Kyler Murray, we're going to give you time, throw to the open guy. Because against Pittsburgh, it was very much like, no Michael Wilson, Hollywood Brown, like, you got to dink and dunk. Now, as we talked about it on Friday's preview show, there should be, to quote JG, some shots there to take advantage of.
Yeah. Pew, 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 pew. Shots.
That's right.
Explosive.
Can we get some today, please?
Gannonite, I think he would Gannon ball. That's exactly what you want to play today.
Yeah.
But, Hollywood Brown had one of his best games of the season last time they played against the 49ers. He was on his way to a 100-yard performance. He was making big clutch plays on third down. Mm-hmm. He's going to need to do that if you're not going to get the full the full game from Trey McBride. Yeah. Because it's just something that with the safeties and the linebackers that they have, in the talent that they have for San Francisco, Trey McBride, I'd love to see go play strength for strength, and Trey McBride wins those matchups more often than not. But being realistic about it, get plays from guys like Hollywood Brown, because otherwise, like if you can't do that when needed, like why are you on this roster going forward?
We alluded to it. We got some good info on Friday that like Hollywood Brown feels good entering this game, and they feel good about Hollywood Brown giving them an opportunity to make some plays this last month. Like we've been saying, it's a broken record. Like if not now, when? As Will Levis tries to hit DeAndre Hopkins, can't convert a big third down. Tennessee's going to have to punt back to Houston. Hate to see that. Would love to see Hollywood Brown take off today. I mean, Hollywood Brown, to me, you can manipulate the Niners secondary. No, you funga. It's going to be about, can the Cardinals have adequate pass protection with Chase Young and Nick Bosa, respectfully with DJ Humphries and Paris Johnson Jr. If that happens, I think, again, we're going to talk about Kyler Murray here in a little bit, but I think we see the most efficient game we've seen. And listen, at the end of the day, Hollywood Brown is your number one receiver, for better or worse. Like this was the plan coming into this year. This is why you cut DeAndre Hopkins. He's healthy. Last month of the season, he wants a big money contract. Let's go. What are we waiting for? There's no time, Hollywood, like the present, to make some plays and help your team in a crucial game in terms of culture, roster building, management, whatever you want to call it. An NFC West victory for Jonathan Gannon would go a long way.
It needs to happen at some point between now or the finale against Seattle. That would give further kind of give confidence to this fan base, to this organization, to those players in the locker room, the guys on the coaching staff plugging away and committing to this process that it's worth it, right? Yeah. I mean, to go 0-6 in the division would be tough. I mean, I don't care if you're looking at a rebuild, but put yourself in a position to win a game today. Like, I think that's what people are looking for, as much as we might overplay that. Like, I think right now, if they can play tight with San Francisco, if they can make the proper adjustments, if they can rebound from a brutal performance the last time they played at home against the Rams, I think that would further, get belief in this coaching staff.
Speaking of belief, there is immense belief in Kyler Murray within this roster, this organization. Let's talk about it here on the Birdgang Blitz. A motivated Kyler Murray entering the final month of play. He comes off his best, most efficient game, in my opinion, ball of victory at Heinz Field, hosting the 49ers. What a great barometer for this coaching staff to be able to see K1 under center. He's been back now for about 8 to 10 weeks. Can he give them an opportunity to showcase this is Kyler Murray now into the future? He can handle the 49ers. We have seen him do it before, albeit under Cliff Kingsbury. Kyler Murray historically has had good games against Kyle Shanahan-led teams. I think we see Kyler Murray efficient, operating, minimal turnovers, and talk about somebody that's immensely more comfortable than the last time we saw him.
I mean, we know about the motivation, right? We know the massive chip that he's got on his shoulder, but he hasn't gotten to face the 49ers in the last 4 times the Cardinals have lined up against San Francisco. And, like you said, he's had some success against this organization, and they're coming in with all the momentum, to continue to change the narrative. I think that this would go, a long way for a guy like Kyler Murray. And I would love to see a continuation, obviously, of Pittsburgh. But, San Francisco is an elite defense. They're going to see what was put on film, and they're going to try to take away where they were successful. But what I really liked about Kyler Murray is it felt like he started playing within the offense. And then, like he said, I think after the Atlanta game when they came back, that he loved the infrastructure in place and that he didn't have to make all those hero plays, right? And that he could go play off schedule when necessary, but the infrastructure was in place for them to make plays, pretty consistently down to down, and then him have to step up every once in a while. I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
I want to see him play within the offense, and then when they need him to make a play, find a receiver, a tight end downfield, and make, convert on a 3rd and long.
Loving these comments here in the chat. Keep them up. Like this video if you could. Tommy, I'm predicting an upset. Would love to see that.
Tommy.
Jules, Paris Johnson Jr. is going to have a great game today against that elite edge rushers. No sacks on K1.
There's familiarity there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's coming in blind. He's faced Nick Bosa. He's gotten to face Chase Young during his time in Columbus, and there's been workouts and stuff like that. So he's got a little bit of familiarity, and he can tap into guys like against Nick Bosa and Chase Young. Not to say that that's the blueprint to stopping those guys, but to slow them down. That's what you want to see from number 70 today.
Really good question here from Brandon. How much would the bye been able to benefit Kyler's offensive comfort given he's already had a few games? I think absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, listen, he's been the guy since he's been back. He's been running with the first-team offense, but just for his body to rest up, the mental aspect, and then especially that cadence with Hollywood Brown and Michael Wilson that he hasn't been able to have, I think that's immensely important. Speaking of important, Houston now being forced to punt. Tennessee's going to receive the ball as we continue on, moving from the AFC South here to the NFC West. You mentioned it. Jonathan Gannon still looking for that elusive first dub in the ultra-competitive NFC West. He's got 2 more chances to do it, of course, today and then in Week 18 at home against Seattle. I know a lot of people out there, we're going to be talking about it throughout the duration of our programming today at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass, but the draft is important. I get that. People want Marvin Harrison Jr., people want Joe Alt, a quarterback trade-down bounty. I'm going to tell you right now, they win this game today. That, in my opinion, that's bigger than a lot of draft scenarios. You have a culture builder. You beat Kyle Shanahan head-to-head. You win an NFC West matchup with a completely, not demoralized roster, but a watered-down roster compared to what you're going to have next year. I think, to me, Gannon is going to come out with the chips in the middle of the table. We already saw it today. We laughed at it. Philadelphia fired or changing head defensive coordinators mid-season, the end of the season. It's a joke, right? No better time than JG being able to put his stamp on, hey, I'm the right guy for this job. I can take on Kyle Shanahan head-to-head.
Talk to me at halftime. If this game is close, I'll talk about them potentially stealing one. But
you'll speak to it then.
A lot has to go down to have that conversation. The Cardinals have to execute. They have to play well. They have to have the game plan in place. This is when we've talked about it. As far as weight classes, this is a heavyweight. The San Francisco 49ers going against the welterweight as far as just where the Cardinals are roster wise. But they've got, that puncher's chance, right? Yeah. Kyler Murray, he's got that haymaker that if he can land it, they've got a chance. But it's going to have to go perfectly for them, and they're going to have to be given the opportunity and take advantage of it. But look, I'll be willing to concede that if they can get a win, like to move down the draft board, because especially when you look at the roster overall, like there's so many holes. Like I don't think anybody's ignorant to the idea, like they're more than a Marvin Harrison Jr. away.
100%.
Like they understood that with DeAndre Hopkins, where they wanted to just absorb that contract and move forward because they knew, what was DeAndre, like it would be nice to have a receiver that caliber making plays for you, but it made more sense for them financially to go into 2024 offseason with the flexibility to not have that playmaking for a season's worth of time.
Carolina beating Atlanta at their own game. Carolina wins 9-7 in that matchup. Unbelievable. Our guy Britton Golden visiting some friends in Carolina was at that game today. A little sparse crowd there in Charlotte.
So still like 2 games back, though, right?
Absolutely. Cardinals would have to lose out. Carolina would have to win 2 games. Cardinals' strength of schedule is much more robust. In fact, it's the number 1 strength of schedule in the NFL. You guys already knew that. I agree with this. Connor needs like 25 carries today. I think that's the wise decision to be able to keep Kyler Murray upright. We talked about it. They stayed true to the running game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that's where the smart money is to be made for the Arizona Cardinals. Speaking of smart money, come down to Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. Make yourself some money. Love that sweet, sweet hard ticket betting chip that you can come out and place your bet here. And let me give you a preview of what your boy likes today, Bo Brock, on this edition. Johnny's Bets. Tap that app. I think there's going to be some points today. I think it's 48.5 minus 110 for the Arizona Cardinals today. I also like Hollywood Brown anytime touchdown at plus 200. So these lines have moved a little bit since I put them together for producer Damon Dog. So minus 110 has remained the same. I got Hollywood Brown at plus 260, but then unfortunately I had to dabble on this one. Deebo Samuel, I got this at plus 600. You guys tell me if you like this, plus 450. I think this game is going to be close. I think the Niners are going to get away from McCaffrey today. McCaffrey had his due against the Cardinals the first time, like 4 touchdowns. I think the Niners are going to try to get Brock Purdy an MVP trophy today and try to mix it up in the passing game. Deebo Samuel, obviously their number 1 receiver. I liked it at plus 600. I still like it at plus 450. I think he could run the ball into the end zone. To me, it's like, okay, I'm not going to pick the Niners outright on a betting slip because I just can't do that. And certainly I can't pick the Cardinals right now, given the talent discrepancy. But like some touchdown bets, those are what I like today.
Look, I think that they're a little bit more focused than you're giving them credit for.
Okay.
They have a division to wrap up, and then they can start padding the stats and angling for who could get into the most valuable player conversation. It's not like Deebo Samuel just happens to be on fire right now.
Yeah.
They just are leaning on the guy. I don't know if it's the best. I mean, for considering the wear and tear that he gets on his body each and every season, and we see when sometimes he's not available and at full strength at key times, like, I don't think that they should lean on him necessarily today and try to target a guy like Ayuk or Kittle or guys that haven't had their name called as much in the last couple games. But look, they're going to try to get this job done today. I think that that's most important to them. But I would love for them to try to lean on Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be fantastic because I think it gives the Cardinals an opportunity instead of just continuing to feed the beast that is CMC.
Christian McCaffrey is a big-time problem. And again, I think that's where their offense starts.
That line, that offensive line is just they can push you around.
Yeah. Houston driving now with a chance to, unfortunately, take the lead. There's 9 seconds left. We're going to keep you posted there. But let's take a look at the chat. Angel saying Brown will sell that parlay. Hollywood Brown, I've been waiting for that Hollywood Brown anytime touchdown. When was the last time we got a Hollywood Brown touchdown? Maybe Dallas? That game winner from Dobbs to Hollywood Brown? It's been a hot minute. Rise up, Panthers beat the Falcons, laughing my ass off, absolutely. Ben Cork, heavy dose of James Conner. How about Michael Carter? Could see some increased touches.
Yeah.
Much more comfortable, you would assume, after the bye week. Again, if you haven't liked this video, like it, subscribe here. PHNX Sports on YouTube.
Baltimore was Hollywood Brown's last touchdown.
I don't even remember that.
That they even played each other?
Yeah, like that was a pretty forgettable day because the offense was so decrepit. We thought Kyler Murray was potentially going to play in that game. So Josh Dobbs, it was one of his worst outings of the year that day against Baltimore.
Yeah.
Defense played well, though. You'd love to be able to see the defense, man.
He had 33 yards receiving. But
yeah, I have no man. Maybe was it a garbage time touchdown? I feel like it might have been. You guys can keep me honest here in the chat. It's prediction time here on PHNX Cardinals pregame show. I'll defer to you. Any feelings change given the state of this roster, the state of the injury report, that the Cardinals could pull off the upset today?
I'd like to see them be competitive. I just want to see them be competitive at home, give the Niners a run for their money, make the Niners flip the switch, right, and improve who they are and that they have the most talented roster, not only at State Farm Stadium, but in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's just reality of it for now. And I've got a lot of, obviously confidence in Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon to change that soon. But as of this Sunday, I think that the Cardinals can get one of those, and Gannon won't accept this, but I'll accept it, a moral victory for the Cardinals, for this offense to continue to show improvement and put up points and put kind of just tighten the screws a little bit on the Niners. So I've still got the Cardinals covering the points, right, but losing a hard-fought game at home against the Niners.
I'm going to be the optimistic one for once. I think this is going to be a one-possession game in the fourth quarter. I think we're going to get a vintage Kyler Murray outing. I would be very disappointed, even against this defense, if this is not the best offensive output that we've seen thus far. I mean, I watched, granted, it was a guy who's been around the block a little bit in this offense, but I watched Seattle put some points up against San Francisco. It was a one-possession game at halftime last week.
Let's go, Brownies.
With Drew Lock. What's happening with the Cleveland Browns?
According to Thunder, OMG, Browns just tied it up from about midfield because I just saw the ticker on the bottom of the screen here said they were down 17-10.
Oh, my goodness.
But,
Flacco time.
Flacco?
Deep ball. Amari Cooper, 51 yards. How about it? We'll this live play here, Case Keenum, Hail Mary style. Hopefully he gets sacked here. No chance he gets that off. We are playing for overtime. Houston at Tennessee. Come on, Vrabel. Put it together. Put this game away. Good hell. I don't have to sweat this game out simultaneously with the Arizona Cardinals, but I will do it. We will soldier on. I think the Cardinals are going to surprise a lot of people. Dare I say, I think there's a chance we come into our halftime show and the Cardinals are winning this game. I just have a very strange feeling today that the San Francisco 49ers are going to have an off day and Kyler Murray is going to come out double birds and put points up on the board. And people are going to go nuts, and they're going to feed off that momentum.
Is that the Gila River Resorts and Casino? Is that water bottle half full? Because it certainly looks like it.
No, it's got a little bit of Kool-Aid in it. Cards Kool-Aid, baby. I'm ready to hydrate with some Cards Kool-Aid today. We are going to be back here immediately following our first half of action. Kickoff in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, before you guys join us at halftime, like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. We got Bo Brock in the house. Right. The special guest today, Damon Dog, behind the mic, award-winning producer extraordinaire.
That's right.
Come out. There's still time. Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass. Enjoy the first half. We'll see you at halftime.
We all silly like the mayor.